Why don't you
And
people create your own job?
who's you people?
The black men. Instead of
Are you a
begging,
black man?
if you believe that the
Hold
white
on, Jesse. Are you a
man,
black man?
yeah, but I'm not a
Okay,
part
because you
of.
said you. What do you mean you're not a part of
I'm
it?
not a part of that black helpless victimhood thinking. I'm an
Me either.
independent man. I don't identify with any of that mess.
But you still a
But
black man, right?
but let me ask.
What's your
If
point?
black, why?
So he's asking Jesse, but you're still a black man, right? He doesn't answer. And this idiot over here is like, what's your point? Now, I don't know this guy's ethnicity. I mean, he could be from the hills of Montana for all I know, right? But he is supposed to be reacting to this discourse, right? And he's here to back his guy, Jesse Lee Peterson. Now, from what you just heard, I can assure you, it gets progressively worse. Now, he has this video labeled as Woke Black Progressive Gets Dominated by Jesse Lee Peterson. Now, I watched some of this guy's content. Not only does this guy have a huge channel right here on YouTube, he started it by himself. Now he has other people actually anchoring and branching off with their own channels from the main one that he had. So to make the assertion that he's dependent on somebody else and making these blanket statements, it is just, it's mind-blowing. And this guy's over there laughing like, did he even research this person to find out what kind of person he is, what he does? But you know, they're so quick to dick ride Jesse Lee Peterson. Right? This is the same guy that asks, do you love white people? Like, what does that have to do with anything? And I've said it before. There's this assertion that white people are somehow under attack in this country. Let me make something perfectly clear to you. The government doesn't give a shit about the average person. That's it. To them, it's not really about black or white. They are puppets ran by puppet masters. Whoever gets the short end of the stick gets the short end of the stick. Have black people got it predominantly over the years? Yeah. But they're poor whites too. There are whites that live in abject poverty. I know some of you have seen them. You know, people that grew up in trailer parks, they didn't have much coming up, right? Obviously, their families weren't enslaved or anything like that. But there are people that have a pretty rough life. You know, all you gotta do is watch one of these kind of 48 hours cold case kind of things, and you'll see. You know, they are. So it's a question like, oh, do you love white people? Like, okay, what? Yeah. Aren't you supposed to love all people though? These are the same kind of people, this idiot over here and this one, that would be like, oh, well, you know, Black Lives Matter is a sham, you know, all lives matter. But then you come and ask, do you love white people? So what about Asians? What about Chinese? What about Japanese? African? Australian? Italian?
Is it that black men, like all other races of men, why don't you stop begging the white man to give you a job and all that, instead build your own job?
I promote that. I promote doing for
No, you're
yourself.
not. You're blaming the white man don't give you work.
What did you
You're
say?
saying the white man won't give you a job.
I said promote jobs. I didn't say give me a job. I believe in doing for yourself. I believe in creating your own businesses.
Why
That's
do you
what I
need the
promote.
white man to promote jobs? Why don't you promote them? What's different about the white man than you?
Oh, let's see. He stole everything he had.
Before I even let him answer that question, the reason is because the white man is in rulership over this country. They have the largest numbers, They own the majority of businesses, manufacturing, all these different things. So obviously, if you're going to end up working for a corporation, out of the millions and millions of people in America, I think it's about 380, around 380 million. How many of these people can you, Jesse Lee Peterson, how many of them can you employ? Right? You have a pretty big platform, you're well known. How many people do you employ? You know, as he's asking these questions, he doesn't have any answers. How many people does this guy employ? Now, like I told you, I had saw this guy's channel from this is way back. This is years. It was only him on it. Now he has other people that have actually branched out from that channel. So they'll have let's say their name and then the channel, if you understand what I'm saying. Just look him up and then you'll see he has I think 2 or 3 other women, plus they have, production and all this other stuff. So I don't know how many people he has employed, but I definitely know that he was by himself and now he's not. There's other people on that channel as well. So, good for him.
He got 246
What has he
years
stolen from you?
A free labor from black people.
What has
black
he
people
stolen
built
from
this
black
country.
people today?
Oh, he stole our culture. He stole our language. He stole our heritage. He stole our labor. He murdered and slaughtered our children.
And this guy at the bottom is laughing. So like I said, I don't know his ethnicity. But if that is funny to you, when he says that they stole all these things, this guy might as well be, wearing his white sheet with a couple holes put in it. That's what he sounded like to me. Because that actually did happen. What does he mean they stole it? Okay. You take people from another country, bring them here as slaves, right? You bring them here to work as slaves, not employed. You bring them here as slaves. Whatever they're speaking, you're uncomfortable with it because obviously they can conspire in their own language against you. So this is not just for a few years. You have them for hundreds of years. Over that time, you've beaten it out of them. This is why it's not spoken anymore. Whatever language that we had, that was lost. And that is for the Americas and everywhere else that slaves were taken. It's the dominating colonizer whose language that they ended up speaking, whether it's the French, the Spanish, the British. That's why these people are on the majority of the currencies, right? In the Caribbean, the Queen is still on a lot of the currency. Why? Because they were colonized by the British. Now that's something that this idiot over here obviously does not understand. It's very simple. Like I said, he could be from the hills of Montana for all I know. It flew right over his head.
Children, our babies, our women, our men.
See what I'm saying right here? All lives matter at the bottom. But this is the same person, Jesse Lee Peterson, that always asks, do you love white people? So if you're promoting this all lives matter right here, clearly, why would you agree to that question?
Do we need to continue stolen inventions that we couldn't patent because they created a patent office?
What's your language that they stole?
The different African dialects they stole. We didn't come here speaking English.
But white people speak English. They don't speak African dialect.
So, when we came off the ships, we didn't speak English, so you stole our language.
What do you mean they stole it?
They wouldn't allow you to speak it, and they'll beat the hell out of you or kill you.
So you came off the ship speaking black stuff?
What is black stuff? It's African language.
Yeah, you came off the ship speaking that.
I think I just explained why they don't speak it now. like I said, this guy over here is obviously a pea brain. He doesn't get it. Right? Now, like I said, I don't know his ethnicity. He might be white for all I know, or he could be mixed, but light bright over here, he don't get it. And I notice there's a lot of people that look like him that are supposedly mixed, but they act like, oh well, I have it that bad. Maybe that's because how many of you ever seen the movie Devil in a Blue Dress? This is who this guy reminds me of. Passing so as to, not go through the black experience. Right? If you saw the movie, it was with Denzel Washington as this very pretty girl who at appearances, right, is supposed to be white, but then come to find out, they find out some dirt on her. It's her father that's white and the mother is black. She's trying to marry into this affluent white family. At the end, well, spoiler alert, at the end, the guy, who she wants to marry finds out and basically does not accept her. Obviously, it's not based in current times because that would not be an issue, but the setting of the movie, it was appropriate for that time for him to say, I don't know,
My ancestors did.
What's preventing you from speaking it now? All you do, go learn it and speak it. No one cares.
What's preventing him from speaking it now? Who would he speak it to? That is the most idiotic thing. And this guy is supposed to be some sort of, I don't know, leader or some shit like that. Like, that is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard somebody say. Why don't you go learn this new language and speak it to whom in America? Every black household in America would have to take these classes for it to make any sense. For one person to say, oh, we should go speak that.
For speaking it now because number one, we lived in a colonized society. We speak a colonized language, and so unfortunately, we have to teach our children English.
Why is it that black men such as yourself don't feel embarrassed?
Wait, Jesse, before you unleash.
Now, I'm not gonna let him speak because I'm not really interested in anything he has to say. There was a part in the video where Jesse made a statement. It starts about here, and I'll let it go because what he said here.
Yourself don't feel embarrassed publicly.
You have to listen to this.
Complaining about white men and how they're holding you back, and you got all these excuses. Normal men don't have excuses.
That's funny, normal men. I would love to hear your explanation of normal men. But the thing is this.
Men who are not like women.
We should be embarrassed about, Jesse, is calling Donald Trump the great white hope. What you should be embarrassed about
Why should I be embarrassed by that?
Asking a black man, do you love white people only and no other group of people? I can understand if the question would have been, hey, you love, everybody throughout the world. You love all, mankind. I don't understand the question, but you always home on that. White people, white people, white people. Do you believe racism exists?
No, it doesn't exist. It's a made-up lie.
Really?
It has never existed. And you hear this coming from a guy who, I grew up in Alabama. I grew up under the Jim Crow laws.
So, right there, to any person, this guy should lose all credibility. All. Right? He talks just like Lil Wayne. Oh, racism doesn't exist. Really? So what was redlining? What was the Jim Crow laws? These were things that were institutional. They were not necessarily interpersonal. Because I don't think he understands what racism is. And that's sad. A man of his age, this guy like 60-something, probably. I mean, he grew up in that era, so 60-something, maybe older, right? And you don't understand that racism is institutional, whereas prejudice is interpersonal. So there can be racism that's institutionalized to, let's say, within the banking system to prevent a black person from getting a loan, let's say, They want to move to a suburb, right? They live in the city. They want to move their children out. Let's say the guy has a job, right? Let's give an example. He has a job, pretty decent job. He wants to take his kids out of the city, right? Let's say he's staying within the state. So let's say you live in New York City, you have a decent job, you work in the print press or something, right? You're making money, whatever. You want to move your kids upstate. This is back then, so a lot cheaper than now. You want to move upstate now, you got to have big money. You go to the bank. Bank is like, just at the sight of you, right? It's a reason to turn you down. That is racism. Nowadays, let's say you go to the bank, right? You have a decent job. Your credit is, I guess, okay. You go to the bank. They're like, you might have it from that one person, and then another person might look at your information and be like, okay, yeah, I think this guy is steady. I think we could give him the loan. That would be prejudice on the part of the person that wanted to decline the loan in the first place. Now, is it still institutionalized in certain places? It probably is. I don't know. Right? I haven't been to every state in America and every facility to know, but it's apparent, right, that things still happen here and there. Is it an overwhelming, overarching situation where it is readily visible? No, because I have worked for white companies, had white supervisors, and I did the job. Now, am I saying that even within those companies that didn't exist? Not that it was noticeable to me. I wouldn't say it wouldn't exist or it couldn't have existed, but not anything that I saw personally. Now, are there people within that same company that because of a title, they would treat you as less than? Yeah. Now, did they do it to everybody or did they just do it to people of color? Again, these are variables that you don't know, but we're talking about people within that institution having prejudices, not necessarily the institution itself being racist. I hope y'all understood that breakdown. But just by the statement alone, this guy is discredited. I know I've seen him with Just Pearly Things, who is another, colonizer from what the guy who used to do the interviews with her, the black guy, his name escapes me right now. But he came out and said that, yeah, her mindset is that of a colonizer. So, as far as I'm concerned, this Jesse's just as bad as Jesse Jackson. I don't know what his other beliefs on all this other stuff. I'm not going to go through all his videos to try to find out. But, as I said before, there are people that claim to be conservative, but you have to watch and listen carefully to what they say. You heard the guy ask them, but aren't you black? He never answered. You have to watch for evasiveness, and you have to watch who they align themselves with. Do I love white people? I love everybody. One of my closest, absolute closest and dearest friends is white. Female, but still white. And she's Australian, by the way. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, that has zero, to do with me making this video or with anything going on here. So I don't know why he brings it up. What is the point of asking that question? Can I get along with everybody? Indeed, I can. Everybody. It doesn't matter where you're from. you know, what ethnicity you are. I can get along with anybody as long as we're, you know, simpatico or compatible, whatever. You know, you don't have any ill will towards me, then we'll get along just fine. Anyways, I think I've made this video long enough. I think the point I made is clear. I don't think that white people are under attack, not from people like myself, anyways, right? Because we treat people how we want to be treated. So when he makes these blanket statements about, oh, why don't you people? And I'm like, WITAF, like WITAF, like what in the actual, what? What are you talking about? Anyways, man, until next time, I'm out. Peace.